Oh no. Don't adjust that screen. You are not seeing double. We are doing two shows today. How lucky are you, Army, to have those dads talking dads one more time talking that shh. Now, typically we do this show on a Friday. We call it Friday with Friends. It's our after hours show. So again, we're going to give you the warning to put away the women and the children and all the sensitive ears. Got to make sure my mother is tucked away because she doesn't like to hear me talking grown up talk. But put away all those little creatures that we love so much because we are bringing them on again. The bully is back. The man from New York, from Long Island, Lewis. Do not call me special agent or call me special agent. Nalapa. Hey.
Hello, boys. How are you guys doing this week?
Good. How are you?
Good. Everybody's good.
Before we get to Lou, real quick though, Daniel, put up the oath.
The oath.
Lou, you can say it with us.
It's too small for my old eyes. You guys go ahead.
Put up your left hand and say it after me. I pledge allegiance to the STA. United, we are strong. Divided, we are weak. And don't laugh as much. With liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Amen.
Well, first and foremost, I want to apologize to the Army because if they saw our last show together, it ran a little long. So we promised not to hopefully run.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it went from two dads talking shit to a lot of dads talking verbal diarrhea.
Exactly. So
I think it might have got a little bit off course. So I apologize.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it a little bit more focused, but we wanted to give you the background of Lou and I's 40-plus year friendship. But today we're going to actually have a very exciting show because we're going to talk some fun things from his background and things he experienced while on the job, but also off the job due to who he was in his job. Sometimes people would call him with some crazy requests, and this is going to be one of those stories and things here tonight. Daniel, before we get to Lou, let's talk about you, my friend. How are you? Anything changed since I saw you a few hours ago?
Well, I'm moving forward with this whole incident with the University of Michigan, and shit happens. That's all I can say about it.
Lou, what's your
you have no idea.
Michigan.
What's that? I haven't followed it that much. I couldn't even speak on it intelligently.
Okay, well, the main thing is don't fuck around on your wife and get caught. That's what it basically comes down to.
So you were putting your kids down, Daniel, just now?
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't putting them down. They're not dogs, and they're not old, and they're not dead. He was.
I think you still call it putting down.
He was putting them to bed, doing a little bath time, story time, and a little prayer time.
I heard an interesting thing today that my son heard too.
Okay.
80% of all the time you'll ever spend with your kids is from birth to 16 years old. And that goes fast.
Yeah.
As Joseph already has some 16, 21. My son's going to be 20. It's gone. To think that you can spend 80%, if that's true, that's pretty crazy for people out there who have kids.
I'll tell you once. We know once Layla gets her driver's license, we will never see her again. She's already hard to catch up with. So Jericho, he's been relatively cool about it. He doesn't escape too often, but when Layla gets her driver's license, her face will be on a milk carton somewhere. Have you seen her? So I believe that to be true. So what he's saying for you, Daniel, is enjoy this bath time and story time and prayer time while you have it, because it does go fast. And one of these days they'll be like, Daddy, stop. Don't give me a hug. Don't give me a kiss. Don't, I just want to go talk to my friends.
And they'll know more than you. They'll be smarter than you.
Yep.
All of that good stuff.
But they'll still come to you when they want money. So
yes,
that's
still have the wallet.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
Yep.
The crazy thing about it, though, with my oldest, he starts preschool because he turned 3 in December. He starts preschool next month already. I'm like, I still remember when he was born, and I was like, stop the blinking. You know?
Well,
It's fast. It's
Yeah.
life
fast.
is definitely going to change, and you're going to start meeting. Pete, you're going to become a PTA parent, not literally, but you'll start making friends through your kids as friends. So that's a whole nother dynamic you'll have to navigate here probably in the next couple months, where you get invited to birthday parties and you have to come with the perfect gift, or else your kid gets shunned.
Of course.
Well, at least where we grew up, you couldn't just
Yeah,
come with a little crappy
yeah.
dollar store gift, or else you were getting shunned. But
Yep.
yeah, it's fun times. Well,
Yep.
Mr. Nalepa, special agent, I know, like I said, we talked a lot about our childhood last time, and that was fun reminiscing. But what the Army would love to hear about are some of your fun stories from when you were a DEA agent and what that life was like, and what it was like to do what your day-to-day life was like. But also, I know you have some fun stories. One today that's a doozy that you'd like to tell us about, where you had to get called in even though it wasn't for your quote-unquote career. So we're going to turn it on over to you
All
and
right,
let
well,
you tell us something
here's
fun.
what I'm gonna say. I've told the story a bunch, so sometimes I probably glide over things. So Daniel, stop me, ask questions, because I go crazy. And I thought you guys are always trying to find something that people can connect with. It's tough. Some of my stories, not necessarily, but this is an in-law story. Like I think maybe you might have been voluntold to do some stuff this weekend for your
Always.
in-laws. So this takes that. I'm gonna one up you on this. Not even being voluntold, just outright craziness. But I'll also try to say this is actually a story about some severe mental illness too. If you want to try to reach people and have them connect in a way, because the story in and of itself, most people probably couldn't connect unless they had this crazy situation. So I'm going to back it up, because just jumping right into the story won't make much sense. So I'm going to bore a little bit, because the story really starts New Year's Eve of 2003. And it's actually not when I first met my wife, but that's kind of the official day we started dating, was that night. Went to an after party, went home after the after party, took care of my dogs, getting laid down. Phone rings. It's now who's my wife, says, "Hey, come out, meet me and my sister out at the bar on January 1st, which is my birthday." So I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'm not going to pass up that opportunity when, you get invited out for a second date 2 hours after the first one ended. I'm down for that." So I get up, get dressed, get out there. We spend the whole day drinking and having fun. We go back to her sister's house, and I cook everybody dinner for my birthday. But her other sister, I knew this particular sister because of the little bar. It was kind of like the non-official DEA after hours bar where we would all go and decompress, deconflict, and just rag on management and do the things you do with DEA, because DEA does stand for drunk every afternoon. So you have to understand that right from the get-go. So that's where I had met my wife's sister, and I knew her first. And she was friends with my mentor at DEA, and one thing led to another. Started dating my wife. So I already knew my wife's sister. We get to her house, and Sarah's other sister's there, who I don't know, never met. And she's with some dude who introduced himself, and I'm using his name. I don't care. It's all public record. And he's in jail anyway. So come get me. So his name is Saul, supposedly. That's how they introduced him to me.
Allegedly.
Well,
right.
I mean, I later learned, there might be a lot of that. I later learned that wasn't his fucking name, but close. So he's sitting on the couch with my other now sister-in-law, and he tells me his name's Saul, that he's an ex-Mossad agent, and goes into this whole story about being a Mossad agent. And I'm thinking, I don't even know what to say, because I really don't even know my own wife. At this point, my wife at the time hadn't even met my dog, so she haven't even made that cut yet. So I'm thinking, how am I going to handle this? Because there is no fucking way on God's green earth that this dude's a Mossad agent sitting here in Beaverton, Oregon, telling everybody how he's a former Mossad agent.
I don't even remember that dude looking that Jewish, if I can remember.
Oh, he's Jewish.
I
That's
met
his
him
name.
once.
Yeah, no, he's. I'm pretty sure he probably is Jewish. But so I'm thinking, holy shit. So we cook dinner. We eat dinner. Go about our business. I take my wife, my now wife, home, and I just said, again, I don't really even know my wife that well. I had met her prior to us kind of starting this little 48-hour rendezvous, and I just said, Sarah, there's no fucking way that guy's a Mossad agent. He is so completely and utterly full of fucking shit. There's no way. No way. So I said,
Now, this is when you were still a Boy Scout and you would have been stressing over this.
I wasn't stressing. I'm just saying this dude is not a Mossad agent. I don't know what your sister got herself wrapped up to, but
did he know that you were DEA?
Mm-hmm. Probably, yeah, probably. That's probably so. I mean, I can't remember 100%, but it probably came up, or because Claire probably about Sarah's other sister probably he's a DEA agent or some such nonsense.
Now, what do you think made him just announce that he was? I mean, because most of those guys, if they really were, you're not going to announce that. You're going to distance yourself. What do you do? Oh, I have a paper route, or
I'm not going to pretend to know what those guys really do. But I don't think, as a Mossad agent in Israel, I don't think that you're ever just free of that hook till you're decrepit and old. It's just, it's a very serious agency because of the threats that they're constantly under. And I don't want to get political. You could see how it is. They're always under some kind of threats, and it's very, very intense agency, I would imagine. So I'm not going to pretend to know the ins and outs, but I do know that they're not going to be announcing themselves the first day meeting people, because he didn't know anybody that he's a Mossad agent. Again, remember I said this could also be about severe mental illness. Okay.
Right.
So over the years, lots of weird shit happened. I was never a big fan of his. Always got, I would say my piece. Myself and my brother-in-law, my sister's twin, always try to tell the family, there's something wrong with this guy. There is something wrong with it. He's out there doing shit with the kids like a kid, ringing and running. And this is a grown-ass man. He's older than I am. And he's out there doing all of this stupid shit in the streets and pissed my wife off one time with our oldest boy and my stepson, and just a lot of weird crap. And like I said, I later learned that he had a pretty extensive criminal history. His name wasn't Saul. It was actually Paul. He was from fucking Pennsylvania, US of A, and Florida. So I don't know where exactly he spent his time in Israel, but failed to see that.
Did he have the conversion on the road to Damascus or whatever?
Right, exactly. Damascus, Oregon.
Well, hey,
Damascus, Oregon.
I recently heard that, and I had to actually call and verify this with some folks I recently met out in New York, where these Orthodox Jewish folks I met at a conference recently, where American students, kids, I guess, 18 years of age, they'll go over to Israel and serve 2 years in their military over there, even though they're American citizens. I'd never had heard that before.
Yeah, I believe that.
Two of my good friends.
It's a huge Jewish population. I mean, I grew up. See, in New York, everybody gets so uptight. And I know this is, again, getting way off topic, but you were more identified as what you were. Like the Guinea, the Wop, the Jew, the Polak I was. I don't know. That's just how New York used to be, or probably isn't like that. So when we grew up with a lot of, Jewish kids, and a lot of Jewish kids that still had probably grandparents that remembered World War II and stuff. So it was kind of different and taken very serious. And, their school, their Hebrew school and stuff that they went to, they did very routinely. But anyway, I digress. My dog is driving me crazy.
But this dude was from Pennsylvania and Florida.
But Pennsylvania, Florida.
Right.
Get to the mental illness thing. So years and years go by, and it was always kind of a point of conflict between me and sometimes my wife, definitely her sister, who was dating this guy, and why she continued to date him after I showed her this extensive, and not, we're not talking like parking tickets. We're talking about drug dealing, assaults, batteries, like bad shit.
He wasn't the guy that you wanted to add to your Christmas card list. He was
No,
a
he
bad
was
dude.
not, you know.
Right.
But there was a segment of my wife's family that just adored him. Thought he was like Mr. Miyagi. He had all these magic powers. He could touch you and make you better and shit. And I'm like, well, Sarah, Pete's crippled. Go fucking touch Pete. See if you can get him to walk again. My sister, my wife's brother had Lou Gehrig's disease. I'm like, so fucking special. Let me go see him. You know, go make.
Go turn water
again.
into wine, Jesus.
Yeah. Come on. Oh.
You're right.
So
there's the rock. Go get water from it. Let's see you do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we would go back and forth. I wouldn't do stuff. I did not like it. I didn't particularly want my kid around them. I didn't even really want my stepson around them, but I didn't have much of a foot there, you know. Though I know my stepson's dad, when he met him, also real quickly did not care for him either. He just set off a vibe. So I'll just fast forward a little bit. So what we ultimately learn by the time this story takes place is that he is bona fide, or I've come now to actually believe he's a real multiple personalities. And I think I know why. I've done some research about that, and I'll try to maybe wrap up this story with that. But he was multiple personalities. Maybe one was the Saul guy. One was definitely, I forgot the name, but it was a little kid. This is the one that would be getting all the mischief with the kids and stuff.
Oh.
And he probably had other ones. I mean, he one time did something that pissed Fiona off, and he went into this fugue state. Like, he did the fugue state before Walter White did it in Breaking Bad. Like, I don't remember anything. I don't know who you are. Bullshit. So he was also, I think part of this is he was actually, I think he had pretty high intelligence too. At least one of those fucking people in his body had high intelligence. I'm not sure which one. So that made it kind of quirky too, because he was actually pretty smart dude. So now we fast forward. It's like the fall of 2007. He's been in the family damn as long as I have, 4 years. And I was up on a bunch of wiretaps. And so how wiretaps work is we would run them 7 days a week, 8 to midnight. Hold on. Is there a way to pause this for a quick second?
Yeah.
We on?
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So where were we? So fast forward, I'm on a bunch of wiretaps, and you know, I'll dispel what the movies say and what people think we can do, but I was up on enough phones, meaning up on enough phones, listening to enough different, what we call dirty phones, you know, suspects. So I had to run half of my wire room in Salem, Oregon. The other half was up in Portland. And at the time I was assigned to the Salem DEA. So most of the guys on my task force were in Salem. So twofold, I wasn't going to make somebody come up on a Sunday and work at the Portland wire room. Plus, I enjoyed working on the wire room on Sundays because it gave me time to think, decompress, do reports. Because Monday through Friday, I was always in the United States Attorney's office. You know, you don't just go up on a wire and then sit back and forget about it. Every 10 days or 15 days, you have to do a report to the judge. You have to justify why you're up on a. You have to show cause to continue to go. So it's not just this blanket 30 days and go crazy. So Sundays were just like totally great day. The targets I were working usually were hungover. And when they woke up, they just watched soccer all day. It was like the quietest, easiest day of the week. So I could go through the transcripts of the calls from the previous week. My intel analyst would come in and we would go through and kind of game plan what the next steps were going to be, you know, where we wanted to take the case, where we wanted to take the wires, who we wanted to target, things like that. Right? Easy breezy. Love my Sunday mornings. Cup of coffee, quiet. You have the interpreters doing their thing on phones. And I'm just sitting, relaxing a little bit, and then I get a phone call. And it's a buddy of mine from Washington County. And he says to me, Lou, We have a problem out
which
here.
is the police department. Let them know it.
Washington County Sheriff's Office. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right.
He's a sergeant out there. Calls me, says, Lou, we got a problem with your brother-in-law, and I think we might need your help. I said, well, let me tell you something. My brother-in-law is fucking crippled. So I'm not sure exactly what kind of problem you could have with him, that you can't just go kick his crutches out from under him. I mean, at this point, the Lou Gehrig's hadn't gone to the point where he needed a wheelchair, but he sure as shit couldn't walk without crutches and things. And so I'm like, I don't understand what kind of problem you can have with him. And I don't even know what the hell he's doing in Washington County, to be honest with you. So he just says, okay, hold on. I'll get back to you. So I go, okay. Time goes on. I hear a call back. So I guess they fixed shit with Pete. They figured out how to thwart my crippled brother-in-law.
The master criminal,
Right.
Pete.
Right. But he did say, I have a problem with your brother-in-law and your sister-in-law. So I'm like, oh, I don't know. I mean, he can't be beating her. I mean, she pulls the crutch away and could beat the shit out of him, right? Or just not feed him. I mean, it can't be that big of a domestic problem between the two of them. There just can't be. So, sure as shit, hour or so later, I get a phone call again, same dude. He's like, hey, and I know she was so happy that I was going to talk about this. I don't know why, my sister-in-law. So I'm going to use her name too. But since it's your sister-in-law, Fiona, and her boyfriend. And I'm like, that motherfucker. Right away, I was like, I knew this shit was going to happen. I knew this shit. I said, what happened? He said, well, she's got her held hostage. And Fiona did a 911 call, and he won't come out of the house. So we have him locked, barricaded person situation, but he wants to talk to you. I'm like, no. I said, first of all, do you know if my mother-in-law's in the house? Because my mother-in-law at the time had two houses. That was one of her houses in North Plains, and she had a house in Hillsborough. And they're like, we don't know if your mother-in-law's in there. And I'm like, now I have to go, right? If they told me at the time that I learned that my mother-in-law was actually at her Hillsborough house, I'd be like, good luck, Fiona. I'm not coming.
So
that's my Sunday.
Let me make sure we understand this correctly. He was holding Fiona personally hostage in the house.
Yeah, by night.
But he allowed her to call 911.
Yeah, I don't know how the 911 call went down. So again, like I said, I'm going to tell you we later.
He has crutches too, right?
What's that?
No, this is a different brother-in-law.
This was actually. I'm sorry. Yes, that's what I mean. I tell the story so much. So this wasn't actually my brother-in-law. This was the Saul guy.
This is a boyfriend.
The boyfriend, the Mossad agent, the little kid, the whatever else he's got
multiple personalities.
On. Yeah, right. So we also later learned that he was kind of driving erratically. It seemed like he was trying to maybe earlier do a suicide by cop kind of thing, and then somewhere along this hostage with the knife with my sister-in-law, whatever personality has reason and logic decided like, I'm in trouble. And I'm not going to get out of this very well or intact. So I better come up with a different solution. So he's telling the hostage negotiator, because there was a hostage negotiator out there, that I'll surrender to Lou Nalepa from DEA. That's how I got the call. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So, in my empathetic ways, I called my wife.
That's what you're known for.
I said, I fucking told you this was going to happen with this asshole. I said, find your mother. Where's your mother? And I'm like, I fucking told you this was going to happen. I told you. But I also know if I call my DEA supervisor, she's going to tell me. And I even went over his head. But I called my DEA partner. I'm like, Sean, you got to do me a favor, man. Because the best thing in DEA is to ask for forgiveness instead of permission, because if I said, hey, I'm going out here, as high speed as they like to make DEA look like on movies, they're very, very low speed, high drag a lot of times. So I had him kind of run interference for me with the bosses. Because by the time I got out to North Plains, which was only like on a Sunday, 15-minute trip, my SAC, who was the special agent in charge of the entire Seattle Field Division, was calling me. which was what I was exactly trying to avoid. And they basically set some parameters that as long as I didn't do any enforcement, blah, 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 I'd be okay. So Sean's running interference for me. I call my wife all annoyed. Like I fucking told you. I told you this asshole was going to do something. He's got your sister hostage. I said, you got to find your mother. You got to find your mother for me. Do you know where she is? I don't know where my mom's at. So ultimately, I get a hold of her. She's at her Hillsborough house. So I'm like, okay, well, at least it's just Fiona and Saul at the house in North Plains. So I pull in. North Plains is very, very small little community. I mean, very small. It's like a two streets.
Yeah, it's like
kind
a
of
one-horse
deal.
town. It's a small
Yeah,
place.
it's
Just
pretty
has the
small.
post office and the bar.
Yeah. Gas station.
Probably more bars and churches, though.
Mm-hmm. So I pull in, and it does look like right out of a movie. Like they had a whole big command center parked in the middle of this fucking farmer's field. They had SWAT everywhere, and SWAT out there is kind of volunteers from all the different agencies in Washington County. All of these volunteers also happen to be drug cops mostly. So I'm looking at everybody I know. Everybody I work cases with, they're all in there and they're in their blackface. And, some of them have sniper rifles. And I'm just thinking, holy shit, what is going on here?
Hey, what's up with this blackface? Remember, I am African American here. Don't offend me.
Well, then you save money on makeup. You wouldn't have to buy the blackface. It's that easy. I mean, you save the county some cash.
There we go.
Gosh.
Another reason why I didn't go into law enforcement. Fuck, screw them.
So I get there and I'm like, I cannot believe this. So I got my boss on the phone, my boss's boss, the boss of the Seattle Field Division on the phone with me, asking a lot of questions. And the only saving grace is he thought very highly of the case I was working. So I think I may have gotten a little leeway there. But pull into town, park my G-Ride, my government car, and I start walking to the
field office. Yeah,
the control center. It's a big fucking RV, right? With antenna. It's exactly what you see in the movies. Exactly what you see in the movies. And DEA doesn't have that kind of shit. I'll tell you that. I mean, they might, but not, than I got to ever experience. So I walk up and ask for the sergeant. He comes over. Lou, come this way. So I get into this armored vehicle, and they put this humongous ballistic vest on. I mean, way bigger than anything I wore at DEA. And they said, okay, so Saul's in there. We have this 911 call. He's got your sister-in-law hostage. He won't come out. Now she's trying to say everything's okay, but he won't come out. He'll only surrender to you. We need you to talk to him, and we need you to get him out of the house if you can. So I said, what exactly can I do? Do you want me to walk up to the door? I can just walk in the house and get him out. What exactly do you want to do? No, we want you to call him and try to talk him out. I said, fine. So we're coming up with a game plan. They're getting ready to do the recording. And this fucking lieutenant from Washington County comes trampling over, knocking on the door of the armored vehicle, opens up the vehicle. And he's got an attitude, like right out of a fucking movie too. Total attitude. He's like the hostage negotiator, I guess. I don't even know who was. And he's like, what does a DEA agent know about hostage negotiation? I said, not a motherfucking thing. But by the looks of things here, you don't have it really under control either. Otherwise, you wouldn't have called me. So
right.
I don't know what to tell you. But if you want me to leave, you called me. I was having a perfectly good Sunday back in Portland at my wire room. So I'm out. So one of the sergeants get him aside, like total attitude. So now I just really just wanted to leave. I just was done with this whole little expedition. So I make the first phone call, and it all comes down to now, I think it, like I said, I think it started off suicide by cop, and I think it was ending as I want to get out of this without a beating. Somehow, I just want to be taken into custody in a
Civil manner.
yeah. I mean, I don't even think that's the word
I
you
don't want to go
use,
Rodney
but
King on. I don't want them to go
yeah,
Rodney King on me.
because now
You know,
this is hours and hours and
right.
hours of
That's a lot of man
escalation,
hours, a lot
right?
of money. Right.
And one wrong move, or yeah, you come out. And so the whole negotiation, we pull this armored vehicle like right almost to the front door of my mother-in-law's house, and going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and trying to get him out. And I'm like,
Now, what kind of
but
things was he saying when you first call and say, Saul, hey, it's Lou. What are we doing here? Like, what was his kind of, what was the vibe as you used earlier? What was his tenor?
his whole thing at that point was to get out of the house without a beating. That was it. That's all he wanted. And it was very manic. You have to know Saul and his voice. And I don't know if it was another personality or another part of him, but it was kind of a manic kind of scared, because at this point, best case scenario, maybe he gets a beating. Worst case scenario, he gets a bullet in the head. I mean, like I said, there were snipers and stuff out there. They weren't playing games. You keep dicking them around with who you're going to surrender to and shit. I mean, he's very fortunate that they even bothered to call me. They were under no obligation to call me and have me come out at all. I think they did it just strictly based on, I knew a lot of people that were out there that particular day. And thankfully for him, not so much for me, but that they trusted me to come out and do the right thing,
So how did you talk him out of the house?
Yeah.
What was that
I
like?
just had to keep negotiating with him and the police. Like, listen, he'll come out. First, he wanted to surrender just to me. And they're like, no way. That's not happening. Not after all of this shit. You're not going up there by yourself. Not happening. I said, Saul, that's not happening. You're not going to surrender just to me. And initially I tried to say, listen, I'll just go out there. I knew at that point, I could tell by where the state of mind he was in, that he was coming probably down from whatever episode or personality. And I think I could have probably just got him in cuffs without a problem. But, it's not my rodeo. So I'm going to go by what they wanted. So I negotiate with them, saying, listen, all he's asking is just you take him civilly, not heavy-handed, and he'll go peacefully. That simple request takes a lot to get back and forth and out to all of the troops and things like that, and make sure everybody's on the same page. That, like, you think that should take 30 seconds. It seemed to take a lot longer to get everybody on the same page. And I just had him come out of the house, had him lay down on the ground. But the whole time he had the phone saying, please don't have them, please don't hurt me. Please don't let them hurt me. Please don't let them hurt me. Throughout this whole arrest. And finally he did come out, and it did go peacefully. So, then my sister-in-law, of course, tries to walk it back, that it wasn't that bad. Unfortunately for her, there's this 911 call where she is frantic and scared for her life. That started this whole fiasco. But what is even crazy, like, you talk about a small town. So they get him in custody. I walk him to the car. He gets in the police car. They transport him down to Washington County Jail. I go talk to all of the people I know.
Now, did you have to read him his rights? Were you the one who Miranda?
I didn't do it. No, I didn't do any of that stuff. Nope. I just got him to come. Yep. Go ahead, Daniel.
Lou, real quick, did he take medications or anything for any of those?
I don't think so. That's that's an interesting thing that I was thinking about earlier when I thought about telling the story. For some reason, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was an insurance thing, but my sister-in-law actually did try really to get him, try to get him some help. for these issues, and I don't really know why they were never successful. And I don't know if it was ungodly expensive. I didn't know if it was just a lack of expertise in the area or insurance. I really, or lack of maybe commitment by him. I'm not totally sure why he didn't get the help. And there's, like I said, I'm going to end it with kind of an interesting story of why he may have been the way he was. But at the end of this whole thing, now the police chief of North Plains wants to see my sister-in-law. And this is how one horse town is. I walk into the police chief's office with my sister-in-law to accompany her for support. And now this police chief of North Plains is a dude that I know. He was part of cleanup crews for meth labs. So I don't know how you go from cleaning up meth labs in the early 2000s to become a police chief, but I must be doing something wrong in my life because I can't seem to get a police chief job. And I did a lot more than clean up meth labs. So I was a little shocked to see him. I think he was really shocked to see me. And the good thing about it was he let me kind of dictate the whole interview because if he was a real police chief, he would have never let me open my mouth, right? So I was able to get my sister-in-law in and out of that pretty quickly.
Good.
And on down the road. And then, a week or so later, I had to go to a grand jury for this, which is a very difficult grand jury because there was a lot of my wife's nephews and stuff were called. And, I tried to walk a fine line in the grand jury because, I don't have all the facts of necessarily what happened that day. So I can't really speak to it. And the grand jury is just really about facts. And I can only tell them, my opinions about what I thought of the guy. So I'm not even sure why I was there necessarily, other than the conversation I had with him to get him out of the house and get him out of the house peacefully without anybody getting hurt. And at that point, it probably was going to be him more than the police officers around.
Well, you did come with SWAT, so
yeah, and an armored vehicle to the front door.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there was a little bit of a balance of power there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking my mother-in-law is never going to let me live it down if they drive this thing to her fucking front door. Somehow I'm going to be responsible for this door.
It's your fault. Yeah, couldn't you have just talked him off the ledge? Right.
Yeah, so it was crazy with all of this stuff, and this is the thing that just would drive me crazy constantly about this whole situation is through this whole court proceedings, like half of my wife's family would go and support him and all this shit. So I'm thinking, all this shit, you wasted my perfectly good fucking Sunday for nothing so you can go support him through all of his criminal proceedings and stuff. Like, leave me out of it next time. Take your chances with whatever happens. Don't call me. Lose my number, dude. And
now, did it make it difficult over the old, we're about to have Christmas, like the old Christmas dinner. You're sitting there and all these people are looking at you like,
no,
your fault.
No. Do you know how many fucking people in that family have bailed out of one thing or another? Get the hell out of here. Fuck that. No, it wasn't like that at all. Because I had already been on the non-Saul team anyway. I was never a fan of his, never trusted him. So no, it really was. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, I got him out of there in one piece. There's nothing to say if I didn't show up that he wasn't going to be, missing half his head.
Or your sister-in-law as well. It could have been a murder-suicide.
Yeah, I mean, when it first happened, it definitely was. She was clearly scared, or she wouldn't have called 911. I mean, the tape doesn't lie. That's ultimately what I had to tell her. Like, Fiona, that fucking 911 tape speaks for itself. You were scared for your life at that moment. Now you can't walk it back. You can't. Right. You can't.
Yeah, you can't. You can't undo what you heard. Right.
Right. And that's the problem with a lot of domestics, anyways. The women always walk it back, generally speaking. This one they couldn't, and You can't create a whole hostage situation in a barricaded person that made all of the news cycles, the local news cycles and stuff. I mean, when you bring in this big showing of all of the police departments.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money they drove out there and put in that field. Right.
You're not you're not walking it back.
Right. You can't say we didn't really mean it.
Right. It's over. But you know.
So what was the verdict on that? I mean, how did he?
He went to jail for a bit.
For how long?
I don't remember. Not long enough, because he came back out and was around again, and I just like shake my head. He's getting ready out to get. So yeah. So you want to really fast forward? This guy. My goddamn. Years and years later. Can you pause it one more time, Danley? I'm sorry.
Hold on. Here we
Excellent. Go. All right. Sorry, guys. So, it was. So they let him back into the light. He goes to jail, comes back out, and there he is again. Saul's back in the picture. Though I don't think.
So how was he towards you when you saw him for the first time? I mean, was he like?
He was fine.
You
got to remember. Yeah, and he asked for me. I mean, you know, I didn't ask to come out there by any stretch of the imagination.
Did it come up at all when you saw him? Like,
yeah, we probably talked about it a little bit, but I didn't see him right away because he did go to jail. I didn't visit him in jail. I didn't go to his court hearings or any of that nonsensical bullshit.
Oh, that you would have had to testify? Like for the prosecution?
I might have had to, but I think it ultimately got pled out. I don't know exactly, again, what I would have pled to. What I would have testified to other than
his state and all the rest of that.
Yeah, making the phone calls and stuff.
Right.
You know, I didn't have much of anything else. The tough part of prosecution would have been getting my sister-in-law to get on the stand and say what really happened. You know, my wife and her family can be fucking stubborn as shit. Yeah. So.
Well, they're English. They can't help themselves.
Right.
That's how they took over the world. They conquered malaria.
But the interesting part about Saul, so he's in jail again and supposedly getting out soon. And this was another kind of crazy, just another lead, because I get a call and I jumping ahead again, because at the time that this whole thing was also going down, in my investigation, my primary target that I had been going after for 3 or 4 years was actually arrested in Panama. And I was trying to arrange to get to Panama to go pick him up and extradite him back to the United States. So I was uber focused on that more than anything else. So this was just kind of some crazy things happened in Panama, and that could be a whole nother story.
Yeah. Don't give that one away. That's a good one for later. Right.
That led to some other crazy stories that led to me having a very special relationship with a particular U.S. Marshal. And this particular U.S. Marshal, who's now retired, has a very specific job in the U.S. Marshals, and there's not a lot of them, but he hunts phones. Like, he can, you're a tech guy, Daniel. Whatever technology they use, they can kind of put a phone and say the dude's in that window, right there. So that's what he would do for the U.S. Marshals when they were hunting fugitives. And there's only a few of them, and they're very good at their job. And so one day, after all this crazy stuff that he did for my investigation that we can tell another night, he calls me and says, and he's very, very fucking high strung. He's a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. And he's a no nonsense guy. And he says, and I just think I misunderstood him initially. So hey, how's it going? And he's like, hey, I'm working this case and I'm looking for this. It's a rape case. And this number came up, and it came back up to, it's one of your phones, and it's so-and-so. It's my stepson, who's gets uptight, so I'm not going to use his name. But and I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm trying to process this real quick. Like, all he told me was rape case, and my son's fucking phone came up in it. And I'm like, my fucking heart sank for a minute, thinking he was somehow this was about my stepson. So I said, you fucking kidding me? And he gets so fast. You think I'm fucking kidding you? You think after all we've been through, I'm fucking kidding you? You think I'm messing with you? I'm like, whoa. I said, this is a lot to fucking take in, bro. Settle the fuck down. And I said, you're just telling me, you telling me my stepson is involved in fucking rape somebody? And he's like, no, it's this fucking Saul Cron. I'm like, fuck. What do you want me to do? What the fuck? Let's go right now. I will call him. You want to find him? I guarantee you I'd call him. I'll bring him right the fuck in. Why is this guy constantly in my fucking life like this? I said, you want him for rape and you can't find him. I guarantee you I can have him in fucking 2 hours.
On a
He's
platter,
like,
right?
really? Yeah. I said, yeah. And really,
apple in the mouth.
Enough of this fucking guy. Like, this time, can we just be done and go to fucking jail forever and ever? Anyway, they figured out how to find him, but I was ready to just say, I'm done with this.
So
fucker.
was he
What
the
you
one that
do?
was up for rape, or was he just caught up in the mess?
No, he raped somebody. That's what he's in jail for now. But he's getting ready to. I don't know how he's even getting out with his criminal history. And of course, it was a different personality, right? So was it really rape? It's all of this crazy shit with this personality stuff.
Why doesn't he go to why doesn't he get mental help? Like,
I don't know. I really don't know. So that's always been kind of my thing. Like, how can you keep putting this tag that I got multiple personalities? I do think it's a thing. I think he certainly does have it, and I'll get to why. But I also can understand exactly what you're saying, Daniel. Like, where's the help? There's got to be somebody. There's got to be. And so I worked with the U.S. attorneys that I worked with on my case. There was 2 assigned, and one is very connected in Oregon. I mean, she came up through the prosecutorial ranks in Oregon, very well connected, very much does a lot of outreach and stuff. And she gave us a lot of different resources that I passed on after, because I also say, hey, by the way, I can't get to those phone calls today because I'm doing this. So the U.S. attorney, everybody knew what happened with this whole hostage thing. And she did give resources because that's just the kind of person she is. And whether or not they ever used them, I don't know. But I do know at some point my sister-in-law traveled back to Pennsylvania and Florida with him. So the story goes, and this is how, after this you can ask all the questions, but the story is this. His father was apparently a serial killer.
Oh my!
And took 2 little girls out of Isla Madura, one of those islands in the Keys, and did horrible things to these girls. And kind of made Saul either participate or watch, but he was there during some of these abductions, tortures, and murders. And he took my sister-in-law back to some of these places and showed her. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, but a lot of times when you put to that much trauma, your body finds other personalities, right? I think
Right, to cope.
to try to cope and to disassociate yourself from the reality of what's going on. And he was a young kid. That's where they think maybe his young personality came from. So I got a bunch of information about these missing girls, and he had some pretty specific information about a movie theater or something, and Isla Madura. I can't even pronounce half of them. So again, on one of my other free Sundays, I just started doing some research on missing and exploited kids, and about 2 girls. Now, to go back, like I said, he's a super intelligent dude. So it could be the ultimate twist in a movie. But I did find 2 girls that kind of fit exactly what he was talking about. And I had reached out to cold, cold case detectives in Florida. I don't know whatever came of it, but they did come up. His dad was apparently like a person of interest in something else, or there was something that his dad definitely was a bad guy. The detectives did come up. They came to my DEA office. I did talk to them for quite a long time. I told them kind of what I told you guys. Here's, at that time it was fresher to me, so I can remember the details about the movie theater, the two girls, the descriptions. The two girls I was able to find on the missing and exploited children's website. And I said, this fits exactly. They went missing at this particular time of year, at this particular place. They fit the description that he remembers. They may or may not talk to him. I think he may have still been in jail at the time for the other, from the hostage thing with my sister-in-law. So I think they went to prison, talked to him. I think they talked to my sister-in-law. Not sure whatever came of it, partly because his dad's dead.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, so I don't know how much vested interest, but his dad, I think, was a really evil person, and
Yeah.
I don't think you have to think. He sounds pretty evil.
So that's why I'm going back
Messed
to,
him
like,
up.
he has made me fucking batshit crazy sometimes with this kind of stuff. And this is just a small snip. I mean, it was constant issues with him and me not want to be around him and me trying to keep my family away from him and trying to convince these other family members. And he's done not physically horrific stuff, but he's done mentally crazy shit to my sister-in-law's daughter. Like, really mentally fucked with her. Like he was going to kill himself, kept her on the phone, telling her, he just mentally fucked with her. She hates him. He is, I guess what it gets into is a law enforcement officer. It's easy to say everybody deserves to go in jail, but there's a fine line. Like, what do you do with criminals and then people who just are so mentally beyond help? Like,
Now, when he gets out, he's not coming back to your sister-in-law, is he?
No. So, no. What? So when he came out of jail, my sister-in-law met some other dude who's a nice enough guy, but I don't know. My sister-in-law is pretty successful real estate person, but she seems to like dudes that have criminal history. Like Thanksgiving, my buddy that I went to college with came down from Seattle, and my sister-in-law came over. She was kind of joking. It just was coincidence. And she's like, "This isn't some kind of setup, is it?" I'm like, "No, he's college educated. He doesn't have a criminal fucking history. Not your type. Like, it's good. It's safe, Fiona. I wouldn't set him up with you in 100 years." But he, so she was dating another dude, but they would all hang out. And then Saul started dating Fiona's best friend. And I think she's even written a book about all of this shit, because that's who he was actually living with on a boat in Portland. And the rape was a woman that lived on a boat that was moored nearby. And he's just, I don't know where he's going to go.
Just so long as they don't call you, wherever he
I'm
goes.
done. I got no more. Listen, my credentials now have a big stamp that says retired. They're worthless. They're not doing anybody any good anymore. So nobody's calling me, but it's an interesting thing. I mean, it's, I wish that maybe there was closure with the whole dad being a serial killer, because it's an interesting story for sure. Whether it's true or not, it's hard at this point to prove since the dad's dead. But I don't think that the dad was not unknown to law enforcement for sure.
How did he die? Do you know?
I don't. Probably in a way that's probably was too good for him.
Hopefully very painfully.
Yeah.
Well,
What's that?
I said we're almost at an hour.
See
So
that? I
let's
knew
let
I couldn't
the-
do it in 27 minutes. So hopefully,
let's let the Army process this one. I mean, because we have a lot more stories yet to come from Special Agent Nalepa. But we want to thank you for coming on the show,
Thank
for
you.
sharing the story. It's definitely a look behind the curtain that you don't see, like you said, on TV. It's not as glamorous as it looks on TV. You don't show probably wearing designer clothes and nice shoes and talking fancy. But it's pretty cool to know that I know someone that in those moments that was a person that they called to say, hey, could you come talk them off the ledge? So I will do this if ever I'm ever in that position, which I won't be because my wife is too strong and she'd beat the crap out of me. I'd be the one calling 911. Come get this German off of me.
listen, I got a Joseph story. Listen.
Well, we'll get it next time. We're at an hour.
I'm not going to tell a story, but I got a Joseph story too. When his ass got in a bind, everybody called me. Everybody, even my buddy over there.
Well, to the Army, thank you again for tuning in. To my co-host, my main man Daniel, and obviously to my brother from another mother, Louis J. We thank you for coming on this evening, even though this is normally a Friday show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
We thank you for coming on Tuesday, and we're out.